Hey, Donald, with Warner coming back at quarterback for Temple, what are you guys expecting from their offense this week?
He's a big part of our offense. So, we've been preparing for his presence to be back, but one player doesn't define like the team we play for. So, we've been practicing for the whole Temple scheme and what they do as a whole. So, yeah, of course he's like their main engine to their offense, but we've been preparing for their whole operation as a whole.
Why do you think you guys have been playing so well defensively over the last several games?
We've been emphasizing like the way we practice and the way we go about things in practice. So that's like really one thing that Coach Volker and Coach Hall and all the coaches have been, because practice really does translate to the game. So if we practice at a high level and do all the little things right, all the details right in practice, all that stuff's going to translate to the game, and it shows up in the practice film, and all those things show up on the game film too. So the correlation between practice and the games are really, really one thing we've improved on as a whole as a defense throughout the course of the season.
How satisfying has it been for you this senior season, having Coach Jalen with you after the success you've had with him, even though there were other coaching changes, that he stayed on board with you guys?
Man, it's been a blessing having all these coaches still around in the program, but it's easy for me because I know I still know the system. A whole lot of principles carried over from the past year, so it hasn't been that difficult for me to pick up on the new schemes, new playbook, and all that we have in this season. So, and I'm just excited to keep growing and keep progressing for the rest of the season.
Now, what's your favorite thing about being a senior now, as you've come up through the ranks, a leader on this team? What's your favorite thing about being a senior football player now at the Naval Academy?
The most exciting thing about being a senior is, the younger guys, seeing the younger guys grow and see how much they progress through fall camp, and seeing those guys grow and start to mold into the players they are and see them develop is like one of the biggest things I'm happy to see. Like, especially in my room, I got a lot of young players, and I'm excited for the future of these guys like Landon Robinson, Justin Reed, Tyler Ryan, all those guys in here. I'm excited to see them ball out next year and keep growing into amazing players.
And how cool has it been seeing Jay Reed be able to step in for Jacob?
Yeah, man, he's done an amazing job. He's probably one of the best players in our defense, and you can go turn on the tape and see how valuable he is to our defensive line, to our defense, to our team. And he's a really young and electrifying player. If you really watch the games, he'll knock a dude back that's 4 inches taller, 60 pounds heavier than him. And you'll look at it and say, wow, man, he's underratedly like strong, and he's a really, really complete player. But he still has so much more potential, and he can grow into one of the best defensive ends that have come through here.
And finally, how fired up are you guys to get back to playing after the bye week?
Yeah, bye weeks are always tough for me, at least, because I see all the college teams playing, and so me, I'm just sitting somewhere watching all those games. So, I'm really excited for another opportunity to go out and play a really good, talented Temple football team.
Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Wags. Donald, talk about the game you had against Air Force. 10 tackles. That's quite a bit of tackles for a nose guard. I think it was a career high, I believe. What was happening? How were you getting in and making so many plays?
Like I said, all of it starts in practice, and credit to our scout team, credit to all our defensive coaches, like drawing all this stuff up, making a game plan simple for me. So once I got in the game, it was like I've seen like all what they do, known what they do, and known their tendencies. And it wasn't a perfect game. There was a whole lot of stuff I wish I could have got back, but I'm excited for these next opportunities coming up for me to keep improving and keep elevating my game. So just practice and attention to detail in our practice, and just really understanding like what they were trying to do is one thing that helped me have a pretty good game against Air Force.
Well, it's a very talented offensive line, a very experienced offensive line, and their center in particular was a very good player. What were you just able to shed blocks? Or what were you doing? Beating? I mean, obviously they intended to block you, but they didn't succeed very much.
Yeah. Yeah, just one thing we talk about in practice is block destruction and just not staying blocked, refusing to be blocked, and that's one thing I was really trying to harp on and playing assignment football, not letting my eyes get caught up with their eye candy and all those motions and stuff, and just keeping my eye on the key and just doing my job, not trying to be Superman. And that was one thing that I really tried to focus on during that week. And one thing I just try to focus on for the Temple week is just trying to do my job, not go out there and be someone who I'm not. So there's a couple of things that helped me succeed in that game and hopefully for the future.
So I just wrote about the the inside linebackers, Colin Ramos and Will Harbor. And as I was interviewing Will Harbor, he said, this is the story you're working on about me and Colin is an opportunity for us to highlight the defensive line, because without them, we can't do our jobs. They keep people off us and allow us to run and make plays. Does it mean a lot when you hear guys like Will and Colin saying that the reason they're having success is because of the men in front of them?
Oh yeah, those are my guys. A whole lot of, if I ever mess up, those guys are stepping up, trying to fill in for my shoes. And if anybody on the defensive line, screws up, they fit off our gaps we're supposed to be in, or like the places we were supposed to be in. So, those guys really play complementary football to us. And some of the stuff that I've seen Colin Ramos pull off is just absolutely insane to me. Like I've never seen a player do it before. But yeah, those guys are some amazing football players, and I'm glad to have them on my defense. So really glad to play football with those two.
So we've been hearing a lot about the Clay Cromwell factor, as Coach Volker likes to call it. What is it about Clay? Why do they speak about him in that term?
Man, because if they try to run it aside, they're not going to get very much. Hence the Air Force game. They tried to run it to the boundary the whole game, and it wasn't working at all. I don't know why, but you have a 300-pounder with really good technique, and it's not going to work out in the offense's favor. So you're not. If you turn on the film, he says the Clay Cromwell effect, and he might not make all the plays, but you see Clay driving a dude 2 or 3 yards back in the backfield, and it's teach tape. Some of it's really teach tape that you can teach younger guys. And from his sophomore year to now, it's really a marvel at how much he improved his game, because he could probably tell you himself from sophomore he didn't know a lick of D-line play, but now he's really understanding and knowing what to do and what people around him are doing. So it's kind of a beautiful thing to see that.
Thank you, Donald.
Yeah.
Pete. Biscuit, how much do you think you are lined up over the center? Can you put a percentage on? I mean, like 80% of the time, 90% of the time? Because you guys do some things up front that are creative, but how much do you think you're actually lined up over the center?
It really depends on the game plan we have for that week. So, like if the offensive air raid, we may be like North Texas, we may go to a 3 down front more, or like if we play Air Force, we may go to a 4 down front more. So it really depends on the game plan. But since most of the teams are on our schedule playing spread, I'll probably say like 40 to 50% in that range, since we have multiple fronts, and we like to operate and not letting the opponent get a beat on where we're at, and just a whole lot of those intricacies that we try to mix up our defensive front to confuse offensive line. So I would say probably 40 to 50%. I'm actually lined over the center.
Based on where you are, how much of your position is effort? How much of your position is technique?
I would say it's 50-50, because you're not going to get far if you don't if you don't have the technique, if you don't have that motor. One thing a D-line coach looks for on film out of a high school recruit or the transfer portal is if a defensive line has a motor, and that's one thing I know, because I've been coached by some guys that have been in the league, and that's one thing that makes a great defensive lineman. You go back and look, Aaron Donald, John Randall, all those great D linemen, they have a motor, and they have a great technique. Like they practice that, they rep that every day, and just find little things they can get better at. So I would say it's probably 50-50. So those are actually the 2 top things you need to be a successful D lineman.
For you, what's the key to especially this time of the year with what goes on in the trenches, what's the key to keeping that motor filled up with fuel and still being able to succeed at that position this deep into the season?
Just every day is a new day. Every play is life is its own. Want to know mentality is what we have in this room and with our team, and just just short memory if you do mess up. Don't ever, never too high, never too low, and that's just something we always talk about. And just every day find something to get better. Every day, don't be satisfied, and just keep pushing along. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, and that's something we really emphasize on in here.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
At this time of year, you've got a couple things going as a football player. Of course, your games, but also as a senior, looming on the horizon is your assignment. What was your choice for your assignment and why?
My assignment was surface warfare. Why? I mean, I went on a cruise this summer. I thought it was pretty cool out of Newport, Florida, and I see all those people, and I see all like the Navy football alumni and seeing some of the great things they're doing, and I just really overall like the experience, and I just think that would be best tailored to what I can do for other people, and like the best opportunity for myself too.
Is that another beneficial thing of the brotherhood of Navy football, not only on the field, but being able to see and reach out and get a sense of what might fit for you with the brotherhood, their experiences?
Oh yeah. That's one thing I enjoy about, at least coming in this year and seeing some of the guys that graduated this past year, like, John Marshall, Kip Franklin, like yeah, all those dudes, and see what they're doing in our forces. But it's an amazing thing about being a senior, almost on the brink of commissioning and brink of graduating, and it's something always, as since I've gotten here, it's been a goal of mine. I'm pretty excited for that.
Have you found this year as a senior that you've been able to focus maybe a little bit more on football because you've got some of the requirements and those things behind you and your comfort level and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel at the academy?
I wouldn't say I've gotten too more time for football, but I've definitely been busier. Like the seniors my freshman year, they said it doesn't get easier, it doesn't. But you definitely adapt to the schedule here. You adapt to how much is on your plate, how much work, how to build a routine. So I'm really, and that's been a major part of my success this year is just learning through that, navigating it, and that's just one thing I appreciate and from my mentors my freshman and my sophomore year, and that's one thing I hope I can instill in our younger players here.
And finally, how cool is it for you guys on the defensive line when you went down to Charlotte and you're in North Carolina and you found out that Coach Hall was becoming a Hall of Famer and being honored at this high school?
Oh man, I actually didn't find out from him. He's not a guy that brags about it, but I saw it on like a Facebook post, and it's a really cool thing to have, like a Hall of Famer coach. So I'm really proud of Coach Hall for that. But yeah, I think that's some pretty cool stuff. I don't think every college coach in America can say they did something like that. So I think that's pretty cool.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Flags.
Donald, what does the defense have to do to continue this, impressive role that it's been on here the last few weeks? Obviously, it seems to be the defense as a whole seems to be hitting its stride. How do you keep it going?
Just never sitting on the last game. Just never being complacent. Always find something better, get at every day, and just never holding our heads too high. Because yeah, it's obvious that we did well the past couple games, but we just can't hang our head on those couple games and just finding a way every week to improve. Our goal is to be perfect, but obviously we're not going to be perfect. So just striving for perfection every day is something that we've been really harping on.
When we talk into Jacob Busick writing about the fact that he's lost his senior season, you're a senior. I mean, you could imagine if in the whatever third game of the year, whatever it was, you went down and that was it. That suddenly football is over. What can you sympathize with Jacob, and how have you tried to keep him up?
Yeah, I've seen it happen every year here, so it's kind of like a cycle, and it's kind of crazy. It happened to one of my best friends, one of my, we've been playing football together since snap. So yeah, I definitely sympathize with him, and you got to feel for him, man, because he's been he's been an amazing piece for our defense. He's been a great leader for our team, and he's just been one of our keystone parts for our team. So it's been a huge blow to our defense. But he's always around still. He's coming to meetings, he's coming to practice. Try to give the younger guys tips on D line play, and it's just like he's still a big part of our team, and we really, the coaches, teammates, everybody appreciates that.
Thank you.
Pete,
Biscuit, what's the strangest thing somebody's done to try and block you, whether it be something physically, verbally? We know trench warfare is a different thing, but what's the strangest thing maybe that you've encountered over the last 4 years?
Oh man, I mean, I've had the classic, people hug me, and I've had players tackle me, but man, I wouldn't say it's like a strange block, but I guess when we played Charlotte, one of our online, he literally hooked me across my neck, and like he laughed because he looked at me. He's like, "Yeah, I got you," and I held you. But obviously, the officials, they're never going to call holding. So, I thought it was pretty funny that they didn't get that, and he knew he knew it. So, some offensive linemen, they try to play it off, but he was like, "Yeah, I got you. I held you." But I really haven't had a strange block, but it's a lot of times I can't even count. I've been tackled, bear hugged, all that kind of stuff. So.
Non-Air Force division, have there been any good talkers?
Man, I don't think so. So I don't like to talk trash, but if it needs to be, I would. But I don't think O-line is kind of in that realm of trash talking. I think they're like too tired to ever trash talk. So that's what I think.
You talking to you multiple times now through the years, you really seem to enjoy the acumen of football, observant of everybody that you play around and their roles. At some point, would you like to coach at some point down the road?
Yeah, that's funny you ask. I literally was gonna go out to one of my coaches and ask him about coaching in the spring, helping out in spring ball, and just being a student coach. So hopefully they don't see this too soon. But yeah, I've literally been looking into opportunities after I serve, and one coach that's really been down that pipeline is Coach Marcus Thomas. He's from the same city I've been in. He graduated from here. He's served in the Marine Corps. He coached at UCLA for a bit, and now he's a position coach here. He coaches the slot backs here. So that's one route I definitely wanted to try to take down. My dad was a coach, so that was I've always been in tune with the game of football my whole life. So I just can't imagine myself just not being in it for a long time. So I definitely want to stay in the game and do what I can to help out around in the future.
What's it like to observe the progress of Landon Robinson from the start of camp to where he is now?
Oh man, he's a freak, man. I remember when I first saw him in spring ball. I was out, but he was filling in for our nose guard reps, and he was like maybe 240, and I have never even been below 250 here. And you say he's an undersized nose guard, and I obviously am, but he's just a monster, man. And from that time, from the spring ball time, and now he's bulked up like 40 pounds. He looks like a nose guard now, and he can run 20 miles on the GPS, can bench like 600 pounds, I think. And he's a great player. He's a freaking nature. But once we get his game going, D-line play, he just started playing this year, I think, D-line this year too. So I think that's another really impressive thing about him. He's just starting to pick up all the things, our scheme of our defense, and just to do it in that short amount of time. And I've been playing D-line since freshman in high school, so it's just really that's a testament to his part, and his attention to detail and in film, and at meetings and on the field. It's just some things about him that once I'm going, he's gonna be a really, really dominant player when I leave.
Great stuff, young fella. Good luck on Saturday.
Sure, thank you.
I've actually got one. Mike Collins, your high school teammate in Baton Rouge, was unfortunately part of that shooting in Virginia last year, but did survive and is now starting and having a fantastic year this year at Virginia. Have you talked to him, and what are your thoughts on what he's done so far this year?
We keep in contact every now and then, but yeah, I watched the highlights from the Virginia and UNC game. That was kind of crazy because that was something I didn't expect, obviously, because UNC is this highly touted team, and Virginia hasn't had the best year, but that's a group of fighters over there, and I'm not surprised by his performance. Though it's like he pretty much carried our whole offense, not our whole, but he was a big part of that. He was a Louisiana state record holder in so many categories for rushing, and like you see that some people might be surprised, but I'm definitely not. Just, like some stuff with him, he's a fighter, just off on the field, off the field. You just know he's going to show up to work, and it pays off. Like you see 3 touchdowns against one of the top teams in the nation, and everybody might seem surprised by that.
Now, one more. My wife's family has got family in Baton Rouge. Next time I'm there, what's the one place I need to go eat?
Man, that's a good question, because I haven't really been to Baton Rouge in a minute. Man. A good place. I'll have to get back to you on that one, Scott. I'm trying to. There's so many good places in Baton Rouge. It's not that just one place that I can just say, "Wow, just go here." I can't. I have to call my mom about that. Call my mom and dad about that one.
Coach, with Warner back at quarterback in this offense from Temple, what kind of problems do they pose?
Oh, shoot. Schematically, they do a great job. And then I think personnel-wise, they've got players at every different position grouping: receiver, tight end, running back, and then obviously quarterback. I think he does a phenomenal job distributing the football to everybody on the football field. Each one of those position groups, they get the ball to. Probably more throws to the running back than anyone we've played in a long time. They do a great job getting 4 and 5 guys out consistently, and he knows exactly where he wants to go with the football based on the coverage that he's getting. And he's an extremely accurate passer, and obviously we've seen those guys make some acrobatic catches throughout the years. Obviously, one of the most wild catches I've ever seen coming against us last year, that set up a score late in the game to send it to OT. So we know we got our hands full with these guys. Really expect them to present a lot of challenges, and we got to play our A game on Saturday.
When you're playing a team that's coming off a bye like you guys are, do you expect to see some little nuances that are new on offense?
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, Scott, every game you expect to see those things. There's going to be their staples, the stuff they do week in and week out, no matter who the opponent is, whether it's Temple or Georgia or anybody in between. Like, you're going to get the staples. It'll be different ways that they get to their staples, and then they're going to have new plays that you have not seen before. So you have to have great eyes. You have to have great rules. You got to understand what your responsibility and your technique is, and let those things take over when those instances do come. And they come quite a bit in the game of football. So that's why it's so important to play with great eyes and great fundamentals.
What's impressed you the most about the defense during these 2 weeks getting ready for Temple?
I think we're practicing really hard right now. I think that's probably been the biggest thing for us is we've challenged these guys to stack a day and really grow. And the things that we've emphasized as a coaching staff in practice, we've generally gotten from our guys across the board. So I think I'm excited about the way that they've just attacked practice and went about their work, not really worrying about anything other than let's just go out and have a great Tuesday practice. Let's go have a great Wednesday practice. Let's go have a great Thursday practice and Friday, and so on and so forth. So, and I think that stuff's easy to say, but it's hard to get done at times. And I think this group has really embraced that and is practicing at a high level right now.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Scott.
Wags.
PJ, there was a really good article in the Capital newspaper about Navy's inside linebackers. Did you read that?
Unfortunately, I did not.
Oh, come on.
Did you write it?
Yes. One of the things I really appreciated about Will Harbor is that when I told him I was doing a story about him and Ramos, the inside linebackers, and he said, this is that quote. This is a great time for us to highlight the defensive linemen for what they do to keep us clean. We could not do our jobs and make plays without those guys. Do you love that attitude?
Absolutely. It's we get that as linebackers. That's extremely important for us, and we talk about it consistently. And like I said, I think it was last week or maybe the week before. If you've been in our recruiting meetings, we talk about the importance of the defensive line. Obviously, linemen win games and defense wins championships, and that common denominator is the defensive line. You know, and I usually stump guys pretty often with what's the definition of a linebacker. And, you know, a lot of times guys will look at me and I'm like, well, we back up the line. They're really important for us to be able to be successful up there. And that's what we do. That's why we're called linebackers, is we got to back those guys up. But when we're able to run around and be free, when, you know, 44 makes a play or 54 makes a play, it's because those guys up front are playing at a high level, and Coach Hall does a great job preparing those guys for what they're going to see on game day. I've just been really, really pleased and excited about the way that group has played, and that starts everything for us, is those guys up front in the trenches.
So that's my next article for next week, is going to be focusing on the defensive line and how well they've played. What is your take on Biscuit, Cromwell, and Jay Reed now replacing Busick? How well have they played?
I think they've played excellent football, and the reason they play excellent football is the way they prepare. And we talk about defensively, just our confidence is born through our preparation and how we go about it. And you look at practice yesterday, I mean, we're in the second team period of practice. You know, it's a little chilly outside, all that type of stuff. There's a lot of things to potentially lose focus on. You know, ball gets thrown downfield, and we've got every single guy on our defensive front chasing the ball down the field, practicing just like it's the first day of practice in August, and with that same zeal and energy and enthusiasm. And that's how you improve. That's how you get better. And I think that all stems from obviously the player leadership, those guys being older guys, understanding what it takes. And I think obviously Coach Hall, it stems from him as well. There's just a really great balance of physicality, execution, preparation in that room, and I just love the way they go about their business. They set the tone for the entire defense.
I'll pass it along to Pete Meadows because he gets mad when I ask too many questions.
Thanks, Wags.
I'll make one correction. It wasn't chilly. It was freaking cold. Pete, that hurts.
Oh, come on.
PJ, we talked to Biscuit, and the one thing I asked him, when you talk to him, and I've had a chance to talk to him several times now over the past couple of years, you can sense his acumen as a football player. It's pretty high level. And I asked him about getting into coaching. He said it's definitely something he wants to look at down the road. Do you see that in him? And it seems like as a nose guard, he has not only a beat on his job, but he's also very familiar seemingly with what everybody on that defense is responsible for.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, it's really impressed me. Is he will I'll give you an example. Is a couple of weeks ago we were preparing and during the special teams periods, I like to go over with the defensive line and just sort of watch those guys and you know, offer my 2 cents from time to time. Generally it's not necessary, but you know, mentioned to him something about a particular offensive set, and he went into extreme detail about the offensive lineman's stance and what he was going to see out of that offensive lineman's stance when he was in this particular stance or that particular stance. And you know, it's things as coaches we obviously know and notice, and we're trying to articulate to the guys. But he had seen that through his film study and was able to articulate that to the guys and to us as coaches about what he saw. Coach Hall actually joked about him using that as an interview for a TAD next year.
He said he wanted to get involved and help out in the spring if his schedule allows that. You look forward to having him join you maybe in a student assistant capacity.
Yeah, I'd love that. I think he'd be great. I think the more and more that we can keep him around to just be a ambassador for the program would be wonderful. And in the meantime, I know he's ready to continue to play a heck of a lot of really good football for us and finish out his career the right way.
Not that you hadn't done it before, but you just mentioned about jumping around to visiting some of the position groups. Clearly, you trust the men you work with. That's why they're here. But what has that been like, being able to get around to those position groups more now? Just kind of see what they're doing, see maybe even what their coaches are doing with that individual instruction that might even stimulate something you think about from a coordination standpoint somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, I just enjoy it. Like, as you love to obviously you coach to make a difference in people's lives, and it's all about relationships, experiences. So to get around more than just the linebackers has been awesome for me. To get around those guys, obviously coaching wise, like you said, I trust those guys immensely, but you can learn something from everybody, any opportunity that you get. So to go and see how they handle different situations in individual, teaching different drills, just the way they go about it has been great. I just really, really enjoy that aspect of it. You know, our coaches camp, like the camps we have in the summer, we specifically do offense at one time and defense at another. So you get to go with the offensive coaches and help out that, you know, you take things from those guys in those particular situations over the years. I mean, you can learn something from anybody at any time, and then just help try to continue to grow and build your arsenal. So I think the relationship aspect with the players, just getting around them more, has been amazing for me. And then obviously just taking little tidbits away from the professionals that we have on staff here has been, it's been monumental.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Scott.
How important is the depth at this time of the year as you turn the stretch?
Yeah, it's extremely important. You know, we talk about it all the time. I think early in the season, you know, we repped a lot of ones and twos, and fundamentally we made a change a couple weeks in that we're going to start getting the threes, considerable amount of reps. And I actually mentioned it to the entire defense yesterday was, you know, you see guys really making drastic improvements from August till now. And I think that is a testament to do with the coaching staff, and it's a testament for the players just coming out there and working and just stacking a day. And eventually, when we look back in January, I think we'll see that a lot of these guys have drastically improved over the course of this football season.
What does it mean to you as a coach when you hear the seniors that are your starters, that are really your standouts, talking so highly about a sophomore like Landon?
Oh, gosh. Well, you know, Scott, this place is different than anywhere else I've ever been, just because these guys are so close no matter what class they're in. And I think they all really get excited about each other's successes on the field. And this is, since I got here in 2019, I've never seen healthy competition like I've seen here. And, you know, guys will go out there. A lot of places people are trying to cut each other's throat to get the dang on job. And, you know, here, you know, a guy will come off to the side. They'll be in a position battle or a rep battle or something like that. And guys will come off to the sideline and say exactly what they saw out there, give their buddy some tidbits of information so he can improve. It's just as healthy a competition as you've ever seen. And I think everybody here is just pulling all in the same direction, that, you know, the main thing is we want the brotherhood and Navy football to be strong. And if that takes us to have sophomores out there to get our best 11 out there, then so be it. But I just think everyone here is pulling in that direction. So the more guys that we have that can contribute, the better for us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Wags.
PJ, I've been meaning to ask you this for a few weeks. Coaching down on the sideline, that's rare for a coordinator. Most coordinators operate from the box where they have a better view of the entire field and see the big picture. Why have you chosen to serve as defense coordinator on the sideline?
Yeah, Wags, I tried it for 1 week. I didn't really like it. I had been on the field. I've been in the box for probably most of my coaching career until I got with Coach Newberry, and then had been on the field. And I just felt like for me and my comfortability and it was just what was best for me, particularly right now. And talking with a couple of the guys, just having me to be able to communicate with them down there, I thought that was the best choice. And to be honest with you, everything we do goes through Coach Newberry. And it was just a lot easier for me to communicate with him in between series face to face than popping back on and off the channel up in the box. I just thought it was a little easier for that as well. So there's a lot of thought that went into that. And the more and more I look at it, there are quite a few coordinators that are down on the field. I think it's just that's what's particularly best for us right now.
Have you found any challenges from being down on the field? Or are there instances where you felt like you would like to have seen the big overhead view and be able to see where everybody is on the field?
That obviously is something that you'd love to see a little bit more, have a little bit of that bird's eye view, but I think the pros outweigh the cons for us right now. You just got to get to a spot on the field where you're able to see what you need to see based on that particular game plan that you've crafted for that week, and be able to make sure we get in the right call from there. But it can be tough at times, yeah.
So who are you trusting to be your eyes in the sky? I believe Brent Wimberly is up there in the box. Who else defensively, defensive assistants are up there? And who do you trust to tell you what's going on from up top?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing that we did, I think our communication is just a lot better from top to bottom. Guys on the field, guys in the box. Guys in the box for us right now are Eric Lewis and Brenton Wimberly, or the main guys up there. We got a couple of TADs up there as well, and they do an excellent job for us. But to have those guys up there, Eric obviously was a coordinator at Bowling Green last year and did it from the box. So to have his eyes up there are wonderful. And then Brenton is just, he's a rising star in the profession. I think he does an excellent job up there. He's able to see everything that we need him to see, plus the linebacker play from the box, and we're able to communicate those things. But I think just as a defensive staff, from how we did things week one till now, it's a complete 180, and I think we're headed in the right direction there.
Last for me, I just got off the phone with Jacob Busick doing a story about his career-ending injury and what it's been like for him. And I'd talked to him a few weeks ago, and he wasn't ready. He needed to process this. It's been difficult, and he told me just now that he's still processing. It's still coming to grips with it. How difficult is it to see a senior, and he had plans to have the best season of his career as a senior? How difficult is to see a season cut short after 3 games?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. It's hard, after the last game for any senior as a coach. It's really hard. There's a ton of emotion in the locker room after that last game, and those guys pour so much into the program. They work so hard, and whenever that ends, it's really, really tough. It's really tough. Like, this game is so hard. It's so grueling, but it's so wonderful. It's so rewarding. This place is so tight knit that, and guys work extremely hard here in every facet. And Jacob obviously works as hard as anybody, if not harder than anybody. He's got an amazing attitude. He's handled it like a consummate professional, better than I would be able to at that age. But yeah, as a coaching staff, myself, just being a human, like your heart just hurts for him because you've seen how hard he's worked. You've seen him, in ridiculous heat here in Annapolis in the summer training. You've seen him in the weight room training, doing all the things to prepare himself to be in the best shape of his life, to have a monster senior season. And that's the tough part of the game of football is, the injury piece of it. And, it's the greatest game in the world for a reason. That's the toughest, most difficult part of it is the injury piece. But that's why it teaches you about life. And, obviously we're not always dealt the hand that we want in life, but it teaches you about adversity and how to respond to adversity. And I know there's no doubt that he's going to be extremely successful with whatever he does moving forward in the Navy and in the Marine Corps. And then just in life as he moves forward from that. So, but long story short, as a coach, it just crushes you. It crushes you, but that he's going to come out the other end even better for it in the long run.
Thanks.
Thanks, Wags.
Pete,
PJ, the eye discipline this week, because not only do you have a couple of different backs who run from us 5 a carry for them, but as you indicated earlier, you also talked about how much they're active in the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
Eye discipline for multiple guys this week, because you've also got the distributor, the guy that knows what he's doing back there, who's capable of distributing it to multiple players. So what kind of challenge does that present this week when you have backs that are not only active run, but certainly very active pass as well?
No, they present a lot of challenges schematically, and then obviously personnel-wise. Like you said, I think eye discipline is always critical on defense, and obviously in the passing game this week it's extremely critical. I think they've got a great short passing game. I think they've got a great intermediate passing game, and obviously downfield passing as well. I think he does an excellent job distributing the ball to a lot of different people, which makes it extremely challenging. So we've got to play with great eyes. We've got to be disruptive, and we've got to be guys that when the ball's in the air, we have great finish skills and are able to finish on the football and set ourselves up to have success out there. But I think very, very highly of this offense and what they're able to do. And obviously it all starts with the quarterback.
Obviously with him back, I mean, you look, they've got 9 different players with an explosive play of some type. That's 20 yards or more, whether it be on the ground or in the air. Just how multiple can they get, and how much more diverse are they when he's in the game, as opposed to obviously a lesser experienced quarterback?
Yeah, I just think, the quarterback's always where everything starts. And for them to get him back, there's a reason he was newcomer of the year last year in the conference. And you saw him last year just continue to get better and better every week. And, when he's out there this year, they've been extremely explosive on offense and put up a lot of points. So obviously not having your starting quarterback, I don't care who you are, that's a major challenge. So to get him back is a huge advantage for them. And we've got to play great football game on Saturday to come out with this one.